Hello YouTube, SentinalhMC here. Welcome to episode 2 of my ChromatiCraft tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the casting table. So I've updated to version 4C of ChromatiCraft. I've started a new tutorial world, found a nice location, and I have built myself a little house, planted a rainbow tree and whatnot. And so we're going to start going into ChromatiCraft again. So if I head into the house, in order to get started crafting in ChromatiCraft, you need to acquire a casting table. It's one of the first things you're going to end up getting. So you'll need to go to your Chromatic lexicon and find yourself the page for the casting table. In these videos, I'm going to show you the pages you're going to need to get in order to get there. Once you've gotten the page for the casting table, you can go ahead and craft it by switching the lexicon to crafting mode, clicking on the page, and it'll show you the recipe. The crafting table, 4 stone and 4 of any crystal shard. So if I go into my crafting table, I can go ahead and craft myself a casting table. Like so. There's my casting table. I don't need to craft one because I've already got one here. Okay? Now, we don't need that. When you craft your casting table and you open its GUI, it'll look like this. So it looks a lot like a normal crafting table's GUI. It's got the 3x3 slot here, but it's also got this slot up here and this little diamond up in the corner, which is not there for decoration. It's actually important. So in version 4C, this little diamond was added. We'll go into this in a second. So the casting table works a lot like a crafting table. You need to put a recipe in it. So if we go into our lexicon, one of the first, ignore all these pages except for the ones I'm talking about. You'll end up getting these in some various order. One of the first things you'll be able to craft is a crystal lamp. This is one of the first recipes that you end up finding at the early levels of research. And the crystal lamp is simply a light source made out of crystal shards. 4 shards and 3 slabs, any color that you want. It doesn't do anything except produce light. There's a red one over here. That's what it looks like, and you can get it any color that you want. So if we go into our casting table and we put this recipe in, you'll notice that it appears in the top right corner. But if I try clicking on it, it doesn't actually let me pull it out. So it's not like a regular crafting table. You can't just pull the item out. Rather, we need to cast it. And we need another tool for this. And the tool that we need, if we scroll down in the book, is the elemental manipulator. This is one of the first pages that you're going to end up getting as well. So you need to get this tool, as well as the casting table, as well as at least one recipe, in order to start crafting magic items. So the elemental manipulator is crafted ridiculously simply with 2 sticks and a cave crystal shard. And we can go into our crafting bench, standard crafting bench, and we can craft it, elemental manipulator. Again, I don't need to craft it right now because I've already got one. Now when you hold it in your hand, you're going to see this cool GUI. It's in the center with the glowy spinning circle, which is really neat. As well as this big circle of runes and colors in the top left corner, this sort of pie UI. Now what this is representing is each one of those sections and each one of those runes is a different color of magic energy in ChromatiCraft. And there's a crystal pylon in the world that corresponds to every single one of those. Obviously there's more than one. But every single one of those has a crystal pylon, and by the end of your ChromatiCraft career, you're going to end up with all of them. We don't need to worry about that pie right now. It's not needed for what we're doing right here, but we'll talk about it again in future episodes. Now, the way that the casting table works is if I put my recipe in here, and I give the bench a whack with the elemental manipulator, if I right-click on it, then we can craft the crystal lamp. And now we can pull it out. The recipe disappears, the items, and you can pull the item out from up there. You'll notice that there was a sound effect, and there's supposed to be like a shower of sparks, but maybe because I have this placed among half slabs, it sort of doesn't do that. But anyway, that's how you craft things in the casting table. And you can craft however many items that you want at one time. It's not one by one. If I put enough in here to make 7 lamps, and I right-click on it, there was a shower of sparks. It'll craft 7 lamps that I can pull out. So that's pretty neat. Okay, so that's how the casting table works in a nutshell. Now, one of the first recipes that you're going to end up with, other than this crystal lamp, is down here, crystal seeds. You'll end up getting these pages fairly early on, and you'll end up with this crystal seeds recipe. Now, the interesting thing about the crystal seeds recipe, if you look at it, 4 glowstone, 4 crystal shards, and some seeds, is that if we go to the next page, we get this interesting page right here. And you might be wondering what the heck this is. Well, we're going to go into this in 1 second. But for now, let's try putting this recipe into our casting table. We'll go in here, we'll grab some glowstone, and we'll grab ourselves some seeds. Go into here, we'll take our red crystals, put them like so. We'll take glowstone dust and put it like so, and we'll take seeds and put it like so. But you'll notice that nothing has happened. It doesn't show up in the upper right corner. There's no way I can craft this. If I try right-clicking with it, it just gives me a little And the reason for that is that this casting table is not powerful enough. The crystal seeds recipe requires a more powerful setup than what we have currently. Now you're going to need a couple of pages for this. You're going to want to get the casting room page down here on the basic crafting of structures. And this is something that we're going to have to build. It's a multi-block that will improve the power of our casting table. You're also going to need, if I find the page for it, the crystal stone page found over here in basic crafting under resources. Now crystal stone is what you see that pylons are made out of. It's this dark stone, and it's crafted very simply with a crystal shard and 4 blocks of stone. So if I put a crystal shard in the middle, and I put 4 blocks of stone around it, you can see that it's going to make 8 crystal and stone when I whack it with the manipulator. And we got 8 crystal and stone. Now, what we're going to need this crystal and stone for is, if we go down to our casting room page, this. Now don't let this picture here sort of intimidate you. It's actually not complicated. What this is doing is showing you the structure and showing you how to craft and build the structure you have to build around the casting table. It's pretty large. If we go from 3D mode to 2D mode, it gets a lot easier to read. So this is the lowest level of the structure. We can go up. This is the level that has the casting table on it. And if we keep going up, layer by layer, it will show you every single layer that you need to do in order to build the casting room. Okay, so you're going to need 4 blocks of lapis, you're going to need 4 blocks of coal, and a bunch of different looking crystal and stone blocks. So if we go outside, you can see I built one over here. So this is what you're going to end up with. And this will unlock an additional tier of crafting in your casting room. You're going to have to do this fairly early on. Now, you'll notice that there are crystalline stone columns, embossed crystalline stone beams, and engraved crystalline stone, in addition to the standard. So how do we get that? Well, all you have to do is arrange crystalline stone blocks in a standard crafting table in different ways. So if I take my crystalline stone blocks and I put it, actually no, it's not a standard crafting table, isn't it? It's probably a casting table. If you go into your recipe here for crystalline stone, and you scroll over enough, it will start to show you the various recipes for how you... oh no, it was. That wasn't one. So if you go into a crafting table... it's not a crafting table, is it? I keep trying, but failing. It's the casting table. Go into your casting table and place your crystalline stone blocks. So this is not like RotaryCraft and ReactorCraft, where a lot of the recipes are still done in the standard crafting table. Once you get into magic stuff, it's all casting table, baby. So take 2 blocks of crystalline stone and place them like this in a casting table, and you can pull crystalline stone columns out once you've whacked it with the manipulator. Place them next to each other horizontally, and you end up with crystalline stone beams. Place 5 of them, like a gear would be crafted in RotaryCraft, and you'll get embossed crystalline stone. Place 4 of them like this, and you'll get engraved crystalline stone. And those are the types of crystalline stone you're going to need in order to build the casting room. There are other types like this, which is a crystalline stone corner, but you don't need those for the casting room, so let's ignore those for now. Of course, always remember casting table. So also get yourself some blocks of coal, and also get yourself 4 lapis lazuli blocks, which shouldn't be too difficult, because you'll have to do a lot of mining and exploration in order to get the stuff you need for ChromatiCraft. Anyway, you should end up finding this no problem. And then use your chromatic lexicon, use the casting room page, use the 3D mode and 2D mode to go ahead and build yourself this structure. I mean, if you really want me to make a video of just me building this, I will, but I really think that it's pretty simple, and the lexicon will show you exactly how to do it step by step, so really not necessary for me to make a video dedicated to building this thing. So once you've built it, and this is the minimum that you need, okay? You don't have to have these blocks in here empty. You can put any block you want in between these, but this pattern of blocks needs to be placed exactly as it is. And the casting table needs to be exactly at this level. Not down here at the bottom, but this level, okay? And the lexicon will show you how to do that. Now, there's another mechanic with the casting table related to the casting room that we need to talk about. And that is what these little diamonds in the top left represent. Because you'll remember, on the other casting table we were using, there was just this silvery diamond, not this gold one. So what's this all about? Well, if we go back to our other casting table, what this is basically, the way that the mod explains it is your level of attunement or something with the casting table. As you cast things in the table levels up. All right. In version 4C of RotaryCraft, this GUI here was added. So if you're in an older version of ChromatiCraft, that's RotaryCraft, ChromatiCraft, you won't see this. But luckily now Reika has added that feature, which is very, very nice. So all you have to do in order to level up the casting table is just craft things. And a good thing to do, probably, is to craft your crystalline stone. Because you're going to craft a lot of crystalline stone. You can only craft a stack at a time. In order to actually build the casting room anyway. And eventually, as you craft things, and we're out of stone, we're going to go ahead and craft some more of these crystal lights. I probably won't have enough. I'll probably need to craft some more stuff. Eventually, you'll hear a slightly different sound when you craft. Nope, not that time either. Also, if you don't pull the item out of here before you try and cast again, it'll give you the so make sure you pull your items out. Well, I'm going to need some more slabby doos. Throw those in there, and let's wait for see if we hear the sound. There we go. Did you hear that? It does the sort of usual blue blue, but it also goes doo 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 in the background. And if we look at our casting table, we now see the extra golden diamond. Okay, but it's got this big circle with a line through it, which is telling you that the casting room is not built up around this casting table. It's not detecting the casting room. So you're still not going to be able to craft things that require this higher level of table. For instance, the crystal seeds that we were trying to craft earlier. Okay, still doesn't show up, all right, because the casting room has not been built. So once you reach this level with your casting table, oh, by the way, this is on a casting table by casting table basis, okay? The actual casting table itself is being leveled up. So if your casting table gets destroyed and you have to build another one, you're going to have to level it up again. So I would make sure that your casting table does not get destroyed. Protect it from creepers. Probably don't build it out in the middle of nowhere like this. But if we go back here to this casting table, which does have the casting room around it, and there's a chicken spying on us, the red circle with a line through it has disappeared. It's just showing the golden diamond. And now if I place the recipe for crystal seeds in here, wait, have I been placing these the wrong way the entire time? No. Let's go back to the crystal seeds recipe. Yeah, I was placing these properly. Level 2 casting table. Still, it doesn't show up. Remember what happened before. Remember what happened when we looked into the page for the crystal seeds. There's a second page in here, and it's got this little runic icon here. If we scroll through the various recipes for seeds, you'll notice the different runes showing up, okay? The casting room is not enough. We need these rune blocks, okay? These are necessary. Now, various different recipes will have these various rune configurations in them, okay? The way this is arranged is facing north. So I hit F3, and I'm looking north, okay? make sure you're looking north when you look at how to place these runes around the casting table, because it's oriented to north. So I'm trying to craft red crystal seeds, so I'm going to need one of these red runes. Now, how do we get runes? If we go into our lexicon, we can find the page for crystal runes. Now, the thing about crystal runes is that before you need to do a certain progression on this page of the book, the page with the little quill. In order for you to be able to craft crystal runes, you have to fulfill the elemental awareness progression requirement, which means you have to go out into the world and find a pylon of every color. But not just find it. According to Reika, you actually have to stand very close to it, 4 or 5 blocks away from the actual glowy thing. So when you're in survival, I'm going to turn my UI off because for some reason I have that problem where, this weird problem where they wash my entire screen out in color. You're going to have to pretty much stand right underneath it in order to get close enough for it to register. Alright? So, go do that if you want to craft runes. Now, don't quote me on this, because I'm not sure if actually crafting the items that require rune blocks is locked out until you do that. But there are ways other than crafting to get runes. Crystal shrines are one of them, and I will now insert a short clip into this video showing you a crystal shrine. This is one of the world gen structures within ChromatiCraft. You'll find things like this in your explorations dotted around the landscape. This one is the crystal shrine. So I want to go into survival mode here and show you what happens when you encounter one of these things. Now these blocks here are called shielding cloak, and I don't believe that they can be broken by a pickaxe. You can't break these, but if you find that blocks like this in the world, there is always an entrance on one side. Okay. Now when you walk into it, the door will shut behind you, but don't worry, it's actually quite easy to get out. All you have to do is break this thing in the middle, and you don't need a pick for it. And then the shielding cloak loses its power, and you can break it. And pick it up, maybe build with it. It's very dark, and you can't connect torches to this stuff. Okay? So it's got a lot of crystals in it. It's also got these rune blocks, which are important, and it's got these 2 loot chests. And as you saw when I broke that thing in the middle, lots of info fragments. So now, these are all blank info fragments for me because I haven't progressed far enough to see what they are. But if you keep them around, eventually, when you do something enough, when you do a certain thing, these will show up. So if you can find some of these crystal shrines, they're a very, very, very good source of info fragments. Alright. Alright guys, so we're back. I hope the crystal shrine little snippet was informative. You could find those things all around the world in your various mining efforts and explorations. If you happen to find one, you can acquire those rune blocks and you can use them for this crafting. But again, I don't know for sure if you need to have that page to do this crafting, but because you get the crystal seeds page of your lexicon way before you get the crystal rune, you might be able to go ahead and do that. So, the Karma crystal seeds require a Karma rune right here. Because I can craft these runes, I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. So you can either go out and find a pylon of everything and then find the page to be able to craft these runes, or you can probably just find some in the world. But if I click on the crystal rune page, all it is a crystal shard and with 8 crystalline stone around it. So if I go into my casting table, and pull this out, and put a Karma crystal in the middle, just one, and I surround it in crystalline stone, then I will be able to craft a rune. Now, the fact that it had those little blips around it, which is what the casting rune does, leads me to believe that you need a casting rune in order to craft a rune. But now we have the Karma crystal rune, we can place it in the exact orientation that the recipe shows. So if we go to the second page and go to Karma crystal seeds, it's 2 blocks ahead of to the north of the casting table and 1 block to the left. However, it says over here y equals -1, and what that means is that the runes need to be on this level, 1 y level below the casting table. So all I have to do is place this red rune block right there. And now, when I put the crystal seeds recipe in, seeds in the middle, 4 shards, and 4 glowstone dust. Finally, our Karma crystal seeds have shown up in the upper right corner, and if I whack this, we can get our crystal seeds out, and we can finally go and plant our crystal seeds. And the reason you're going to want to craft these crystal seeds is because this is what happens. It gives you the ability to grow crystal shards. So I just harvested that one. Basically, just plant a bunch of these different crystal blooms, and you'll be able to grow crystal shards. I don't think it's a 100% chance when these grow up that you'll get one, but it definitely will supplement your crystal excavating, because having to go around and find them all the time is going to get annoying. Alright? So that's that. Now, we've talked a little bit about this already, so I'm going to talk about this also in this video. You might be a little bit daunted by the task of having to go out and find all of the different pylons just randomly in the world in order to craft runes. Now, there is an item you can get, and you do get the page for this fairly early on, called the Pylon Compass, which you can craft like this, which uses aura dust and some other stuff, some iron and some crystal shards, and it has runes like this. So you can craft this to help you out, but I'm going to talk about the Pylon Compass in the next video probably, because we're getting a little into, I don't want to stray too far from talking about the casting table itself. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you a bit of an insight into how the casting table works. If I go into this lexicon, which has all the pages in it, we can see that there are casting room, casting temple, and there's more levels. Casting complex. You're going to need to upgrade this casting room several times. It's kind of like if you know how to blood magic, you have to keep upgrading your the structure around your blood altar. It's like that. You're going to have to upgrade the structure at various points in ChromatiCraft, because you'll hit a wall where you need to upgrade your casting table to the next level. So anyway, I hope that this explanation of how that mechanic works has answered your questions. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. They will be answered. I'm sure Reika is going to post all kinds of comments on this video telling you what I got wrong. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for future episodes. I'm SentinalhMC, and I'm signing out.